Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe, it's down there, and there's also a link to my new 5-star review book. Yeah, getting plenty of 5-star reviews, and do please, if you purchase a copy, leave me a review. I'm going to talk today by special request, and if you've got any special requests, do leave them down below in the comments. Make the comments. I like the comments. And I'm going to talk today by special request about ghosts in HM prisons. Specifically, a ghost that I encountered when I first went to Strangeways prison in January of 1975. And that was the ghost of a man called James Ellis. Now, James Ellis was a hangman, and he operated in the British prison system, and he was born actually in 1874, and he was dead in 1932 by his own hand. James Ellis committed suicide. He had apparently hung many people, and he was responsible for hanging one particular lady called Thompson, Thompson, and when he hung her, apparently she had a complete miscarriage on the gallows, and this deeply disturbed James Ellis, who was apparently never the same after that. He took to heavy drinking and attempted first of all to shoot himself in the jaw, shoot himself under the jaw, blew his jaw off. Managed to get himself charged with attempted suicide and was found guilty and sentenced to 12 months probation. And subsequently, some years later, in 1932, he got a razor, one of these cutthroat razors, and actually did cut his own throat. Now, the ghost of James Ellis I have seen, and of course I didn't know it was James Ellis. I just saw this image. First of all, I saw walking down the landing as I was on patrol one day. Saw him walking down the landing, but subsequently I looked through into what was the condemned cell, which had a light in it, and it shouldn't have had a light in it because it was used as a storeroom. And this is the face that I saw behind the door. Yeah, that face there, that's James Ellis. You can see that. Yeah, he had a very distinctive big black moustache, but he was wearing a hat and civilly dressed in a suit with a tie, standing directly behind the Judas hole. And of course, he could not have been there because he was dead in 1932. I went to see the principal officer in charge of the prison that night because I was on nights. And he said, he's regularly seen James Ellis. So people who were asking me about ghosts in HM prisons, I saw that one very clearly and materialised. A number of other staff have reported seeing James Ellis, and perhaps even this day he's still haunting Strangeways prison, because I saw him first. He was walking down B-wing, and I believe that there was somebody actually on the wing, and it was at nights again. So I went to see the duty principal officer, and he said, no. He said, it's the ghost of James Ellis. So they knew about him at Strangeways, because I saw him walk along B1 landing, get to the stairs, and I went down. I thought, I'd better see who this is, because there shouldn't be anybody on the landing at this time of night, because it was in lockdown, you see. And of course, when I got to the staircase, he disappeared, and there was no sign of him. He couldn't have got out because the prison was locked all the way through. So that was one sighting that I saw of a ghost, and the other one I saw James Ellis again in the cell on B1 landing, because the hangman's condemned cell was right at the end of B1. So and it opened up inside the cell. They had a wardrobe in front of it, and they moved the wardrobe straight through, and you were onto the platform of the actual gallows. And Albert Pierrepoint, who was one of the executioners there, would swiftly dispatch you, put the noose round your neck, drop the lever. In one instance, it took him less than a minute to dispatch the inmate from actually going into the cell. Apparently, when he hung Haig, I believe it was, the acid bath murderer, Haig said he got an itchy nose, and apparently Albert Pierrepoint said to him, "Don't worry, it won't be itching for long." Apparently dropped him. Yeah, that was it. Dead. So, but the previous executioner was, as I've said, James Ellis, and James Ellis was towards the end, he was considered to be a very difficult man to work with, and Albert Pierrepoint had, in fact, come to blows with him. I believe it was at Wandsworth Prison, where the staff had actually intervened to pull them apart, because Pierrepoint was about to banjo the bastard. Banjo is a term, Lancashire term, for sticking one on the snot box. Boom, like that. Yeah, you get banjoed. Yeah, so that was the one instance of, two instances of a ghost I've seen. I previously spoke the other day about Louisa May Merrifield, whose ghost I had seen on I-Wing at Strangeways when an inmate was banging on his cell saying there was a woman in there with him, and that was the ghost of Louisa May Merrifield. When she was hung by Pierrepoint, her body was interred inside the walls of Strangeways prison in unconsecrated ground. And she has apparently, in 1991, following the riots, when they were refurbishing the prison, they were digging down at the top end of the prison, which I know where the graves were, to put an extension up there, and they found the remains, and Louisa May Merrifield was one of them. Her remains, along with, I think it was 54 other inmates who had been hanged in the prison, were taken to Blakely Crematorium. That's an area of Manchester where there's a crematorium, and they were burnt and buried in a mass grave. I think there's 2 graves actually. Yeah, you can actually see them at Blakely Cemetery. Yeah, so that was just a couple of instances of ghosts I'd seen at Strangeways. But Wormwood Scrubs, there is a lady that haunts Wormwood Scrubs. Wormwood Scrubs had a wing there that was a female wing during the early part of its use, and the practice was to allow the female inmates to keep their children with them for up to the age of 6 months, and when the babies were 6 months, they were taken away and put into care. And this particular woman apparently couldn't stand the idea of losing her child, and threw herself off the fore landing and killed herself by hitting the deck below, which is why in the prisons you'll see today all these mesh nets, thick metal mesh nets strung between the landings. It's to prevent suicides, because it was becoming out of control at one point. And the lady who killed herself, one evening I was on duty at Wormwood Scrubs, and it would be just gone midnight, around about that, and this guy was banging on his cell door at the top of D4 landing, and I went up there and I said, "What's the matter? What are you banging on your door for?" He said, "There's a woman sat on my bed." And I looked, I couldn't see anything, but it was definitely a strange feeling. It was really cold all round that cell, and it wasn't warm in the prison, but it was bitterly cold around that cell, which is a sign, you see, I know, that when the temperature really drops, then you're getting a visitation. So there had been a visitation there, and I had to explain to this particular prisoner that he was just having a very bad hallucinatory type waking dream, and that he would be perfectly okay. It took me about half an hour to calm him down. And I wrote it all up in the day book, the night book, the incident book. And, of course, when the principal officer read it, he spoke to me about this. He said, because I said, I told him that there was no way a woman could be in his cell, because it was an all-male prison. He said, but it didn't used to be. And that's how I know the story about the inmate that threw herself off the 4 landings. So that's a little bit of story about ghosts in the prisons. It's song dinger time, folks. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Not at the moment. It's nice outside at the moment. It's sun shining. I'm going to read you a poem. This is a title poem from my book of poetry. As you can see there. Flowers and Collected Poems. Grandpa Grumps was in it. That's the one I read the other day. But this is the title poem, and it was turned into a recording by a group in America. I'll see if I can put a link to it. I'll put a link to this poem down there, recorded by a group in America, a folk singing group in America, led by a guy called Jack Wiltz. And Jack Wiltz was the principal guitarist with the singer Jackson Browne. Whoever, if you know Jack, be a big name in America, but not so big over here. But he was the principal guitarist on this folk group that recorded Flowers, and he sang the song as well. Yeah, so here we have it. This is my poem, Flowers. It's based on the idea that throughout life, flowers. We use flowers to mark certain milestones. When it's your wife's birthday, you get flowers. When it's your golden anniversary, you get flowers. And all that. And that you also get flowers at certain other times. And this is my poem about the ritual of flowers. Flowers in the fields, wild roses grow, God's way of letting us know. The most beautiful things sent from above, flowers show us the power of love. I was just a child, aged only 3. I was in the garden by the old oak tree, picked some daisies growing there free. Made a little posy for my dear mummy. I gave them to Mum and said, I love you. These are the flowers, I picked them for you. I was 18 years, she was sweet 16, the loveliest girl I had ever seen. She held my hand, my heart beat fast. I had found the one for me at last. That Valentine's Day, the roses were red. I gave them to my girl. With love, the card said. On our wedding day, my bride wore white. Flowers were glorious colours, so bright. She held my hand, yes I will, yes I do. Together forever with a love so true. Her pink bouquet she threw to her friend. That night we knew our love would never end. Through the years gave her flowers to say, our love is true, just like our wedding day. Each Valentine's the roses were red. I sent them to her, with love, the card said. Anniversaries came, the silver and gold. Time passed, but dreams don't grow old. Our children all grown sent us flowers to say, to our mum and dad on your special day. But time is a thief, and to all it will come. The final journey for us had begun. Now we lied side by side. Our spirits are free, and the flowers above are placed there with love. Flowers in the fields, wild roses grow. God's way of letting us know the most beautiful things sent from above. Flowers show us the power of love. Flowers by John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jails, folks. I sincerely hope you enjoyed that. Do like and subscribe. Comments down there. And if you want another live show, another one where we get on live, and I'll do that, just tell me in the comments below. Thanks.